coming up on the screen unless I were to shut my phone down and take this. But over and do you keep hearing, every time I try to talk, I just keep getting these beep, beep. I mean, somebody is calling the phone back to back to back to back and will not stop, man, during a live radio. So did you hear that? There's a voicemail. Now we've got voicemails.
Actually, no, I can't. But I know I had a call too, and I was kind of hoping that you guys could hear it.
Man, whoever it is, when we go off the air here is going to. We talked about rage earlier on. I'm going to do a little Ryan Clark rage on the telephone, whoever it is, when the show ends. But nonetheless, whatever. We'll deal with it. And it stopped for the time being. So that is good news. So back to Monday Night Raw. We had, you know who I like? Although they have him get pinned clean on a weekly basis, is the Brian Kendrick. I love the new gimmick where he's outside just screaming at the tag team, like the cocky heel that just screams at his tag team partner week after week. You know what I mean? I love that. I love how he yells to the outside, like, "Tag me, you idiot," or something like that, whatever he said last night. I thought, I think he comes across good. It's sad, you know what I mean? Because, it's well documented that the guy's got, smokes pot, goes ahead and pays the fines, the $1,000 fines that are assessed when they're drug tested for that kind of stuff. And, it's sad because the guy comes out, last week came out and took a clean pin. This week came out, took another clean pin. And, I think he's got potential. He looks a lot bigger. That's what I noticed last night just watching him. When he first came in and it was him and Paul London in WWE, I mean, he's grown a lot. Bigger physique, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's always a talent that, again, we discussed it before, one of those talents that graduated from Shawn Michaels School and was brought in as a tag team with Paul London. And then he kind of went into his own directions after the draft from Raw, going to SmackDown. They put him with Mr. Jackson, which, of course, he's disappeared. And then they moved him back into Raw. Now they're playing with the storyline of who's my tag team partner. It's a version of Where's Waldo. His version is who's my tag team partner. And they can go far, which I'm sure they'll end up screwing somewhere in between, because like they always do. But they can actually go pretty far with the storyline and with Hendrick and put him on to another tag team partner next week. Maybe,
My point is he's out there every week, dude, but he's jobbing on a weekly basis. You know what I mean? It's similar to like it all involves the drug testing policy too. Remember when MVP spoke up to the guy? There's a guy, basically. I mean, it's going to sound weird, but these guys have to go whip out their thing and take a pee in front of a guy that's standing a couple feet in front of you watching every move. I mean, they don't hand these guys a cup and say, go into a room, pee in the cup, come out and hand me the cup. They go into a room and there is a guy that stands there and watches them piss in a cup. And there's a guy standing there, and MVP made a comment like, this is what you do for a living or something like that. I mean, what a job this is. And it got back to management. The guy that did the testing, it got back to management, and we had MVP on this huge losing streak over on SmackDown. You know what I mean? Brian Kendrick goes, fails a pot test, pays the fine, fails another one, pays the fine, fails another one, pays the fine. You guys get the point. About 10 of them later, management says, all right, enough is enough, man. We've warned you enough time. We've told you, if you're going to continue to pay the fines, you need to stop this. You need to tone it down, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then he gets punished. And then he goes out there on a weekly basis and jobs out the guys and basically puts people over. You know what I mean? And, I mean, you said that they could go far with this storyline, but how far are they going to push this guy? It doesn't seem like they're really, I know he's out there on Raw on a weekly basis, but at the end of the night, at the end of the match, the guy's jobbed out. You know what I mean? And
it's almost like, with him and Santino, it's if they continue jobbing him out, I can deal with that. I can deal with the fact that the storyline, but at the end of the day, the storyline is finding him a tag team partner. And every person that they find for him, there's an issue. problem that he has with his tag team partner. And if he's jobbing every single week and he's still looking for that tag team partner, there's still some sort of compelling on his losses. It's the same thing like MVP. He's lost, 10 weeks in a row, but there was still some sort of compelling, because now it's like you're on a losing streak. When is he going to win? Not saying that you're going to tune into SmackDown and wait until MVP wins a match, but the reality is there's a storyline behind it. There's a reasons why he's jobbing. It's not just because he's coming out there like a jobber that you see on ECW that we've never seen before and jobs.
They did that over on SmackDown, and they made a storyline about it. You know what I mean? That this guy can't get a win. When is he going to win? They're not doing that with the Brian Kendrick. You know, they're not.
No, I mean, what they're doing is he's trying to find the right tag team partner, and until he finds the right tag team partner, he may continue. They may still play that storyline of, like, he may snap. He may just say, hey, you know what? I'm sick and tired of this. Every single person that you guys put me on has jobbed, so what's going to happen next week? Who are they going to tag team with? Is he going to tag team with another face that's going to turn heel? I mean, there's ways that they can decide to go with, but like I said, sometimes WWE just, right now we see Kendrick on TV a lot more on Raw. We're seeing a lot more MVP on Raw. These are the different directions, and even McMahon said it during the conference call, during the stockholders meeting, said right now we're in a different stage. We're right now kind of recouping and understanding what storylines are going to work and which ones are not. And this is exactly what they're doing. They're putting Goldust, in there, with Hornswoggle. So that's a tag team that they're trying to put together. And I think that's a comedy bit that might escalate even further because they actually make some good chemistry.
Well, I'll give them credit. I think The Miz in recent weeks with all the mic work and the John Cena stuff, I mean, the guy is out there kind of making a name for himself right now. So I give The Miz credit. MVP is another one that I think they're really trying to elevate right now. Goldust and Hornswoggle, it works as a comedy team. You're always going to have some sort of comedy team. So you've got that. I think all that stuff works. The Brian Kendrick storyline, I'll take a wait-and-see approach, you know what I mean? But in recent weeks, they haven't done anything to make Brian Kendrick look like, this guy may be something. This guy, whether he eventually finds his tag team partner or whether he eventually flips out and says, I've had enough, like you said, they haven't done anything that's showing me that they're really going to try to push this guy in recent weeks or in the coming weeks. You know what I mean?
And maybe I'm wrong. It just may be a filler. They may just say, you know what, until H comes back, until HBK comes back, another talent kicks into high gear, Mr. Kennedy coming back. Right now it's a filler to fill in the needs of Raw, because you gotta fill in an hour and 32 minutes of total wrestling and no pun intended when I mean total wrestling, but an entertaining show. And I think right now that's where they're at. They're at saying, all right, what can we put out there that can be a little bit compelling? Right now, Kendrick's storyline is compelling to them, and to figure out, anything that has to do tag team, we all know it's all short term. That's just reality. So, even Jim Ross, even Howard Finkel, they both, guys that are coming from old school feel that the tag team division is at its all-time low, and to put a tag team with Kendrick, it's all short-term booking.
If you want a great tag team division, there's a show on Thursday nights over on Spike TV. It's called TNA Impact. Don't know if you've heard of it, Jose, but they've got probably one of the best, actually the best tag team division in pro wrestling right now.
And I agree. I completely agree. And that's one thing that TNA needs to continue focusing on is looking at WWE shows and looking at their weaknesses and then capitalizing on those weaknesses. That is what will give TNA the opportunity to stand out. But when you have shitty booking, excuse me for my French, like the pay-per-view and the way that you explained it to me, and it just, you don't help yourself.
I will say I read the Impact tapings for this Thursday night, and I will say that Thursday night show there's also a match between Daniels and AJ Styles, and all you old school TNA fans know what I'm talking about. The Daniels Styles matches are off the hook, and I've heard really rave reviews about this week's match on Thursday's Impact. And if you're not a TNA Impact fan and you don't watch the show on Thursday night, I will say this, judging by the spoiler report that came out from last night's taping, which is going to air this Thursday night, I would, if there's one show that you're going to give a shot when it comes to TNA, I would check this one out because it looked fairly good to me, the TNA Impact tapings. Hey, I got a sad story here. I just read it on one of the gossip websites. Yesterday, we put a note up on the website